Hello and welcome. Unsafe at the workplace, public spaces, everywhere really, and now schools. The one place that children are supposed to consider their home away from home, they're increasingly becoming dangerous for them. Over the past few months, a spate of crimes against children, from murder to rape to sexual assault, have been reported in schools across the country, shaking our society's moral compass. A 4-year-old sexually assaulted by school teachers inside a school's washroom. A 7-year-old murdered by a 16-year-old student at the Ryan International School. And a 4-year-old sexually abused by her own classmate in another school. The principal shot dead by a class 12 student whom she had suspended. What's going on in our schools today? Why are such incidents becoming rampant? Should schools be held responsible for the lapses on their watch? And are we, as a society, responsible for what we're witnessing? Tonight on the show, we have Vikram Singh, former DGP of UP, Mr. Amod Khan, former IPS officer, the founder and secretary of the Prayas Juvenile Aid Center Society, a voluntary organization for neglected and delinquent children. Bharati Ali, co-founder and co-director of the Haq Center for Children's Rights, a Delhi-based NGO working towards securing all rights for all children. Mr. Arima Sundaran, senior advocate, Dr. Deepak Raheja, psychiatrist and founder and chairman of the Hope Foundation, Ashok Pandey, principal at Alcon International School, and Colonel Pratap Singh, senior vice president of the Haryana Progressive Schools Committee in Gurgaon. Thank you so much. I want to start with Dr. Raheja. You know, earlier it was school teachers, admin that was sexually assaulting students, and that would shock us. Now we've moved beyond. Perhaps what is more worrying, it's the children who are committing crimes against others in schools. Why are our children falling through the cracks?
See, the whole fabric of the society we are living in is changing. Now the children are aspiring with the aspirations that were previously unknown for. The need for instant gratification, they are just not able to handle and know. I mean, the children, the way, whether it's to be viewed as an urban phenomena, but if you go further, you would find it percolating and oozing down to rural areas also. Their resilience to be able to handle a no is going down. And because they can't deal with a no, they can't deal with a gratification that's denied, there is a dissonance that's produced, which they are not competent, they are not capable. The intrapsychic apparatus, the structure is not founded enough, is not mature enough to be able to deal with the dissonance that comes with it, and it perhaps leads then to an expression in the form of violence that we are seeing today. So it is a phenomena that needs to be seen as having many roots, many pathological causes. I mean, it's to do with technology, it's to do with the information overload that's available to the child, it's to do with how parenting is changing over the years, it's to do with the overall fabric of how the child is rearing up, is growing up with the kind of opportunities, aspirations. So it's unfair to just blame the child. It's unfair to just see it as an isolated human who is suddenly metamorphosed into something demonish. I mean, it's very unfair. You know?
Are we blaming the child?
Certainly, not only are we blaming the child, we are just passing the buck to be able to rationalize and just look at isolated episodes and believe that they are the harbinger of the change that's happening, and we are just trying to demonize the child. I mean, it's very unfair. I think the onus of responsibility will have to be parental, but it will have to be the society at large in terms of
parents and society
are we looking at the underlying reasons why we are dealing with what we are dealing with today.
But when you have a horrific case, inconceivable, where you think of a 4-year-old assaulted by another 4-year-old, how does that even happen? Because one would assume 4-year-olds don't know what sexual assault is.
Well, I don't think 4-year-olds don't understand their own bodies and bodies of others. It's just that, we actually don't know any longer. We don't know how to talk to our children about these issues. We never did.
Do you talk to a 4-year-old about these issues?
At least about your body parts, the functions of your body parts. Just as we talk about eyes, nose, we have to talk about other parts as well. And that's a conversation that does not happen in the families. But it's not only about 4-year-olds sexually assaulting a 4-year-old. Now, today's newspaper has two cases, and both, to my mind, are two sides of the same coin. One which talks about a student dying in the toilet in a school, and apparently it's being said that the other students had attacked this child. The other is where a student, a 9th class student, commits suicide, kills himself because the parents have had a divorce, and he was under depression ever since then, and nobody really has had any dialogue and conversation. Both are, two sides of the same coin, and we'll have to understand that as a whole, rather than looking at only one part of it where a child is causing harm to another. We've also got to look at the stories where they're causing harm to themselves. So there's something definitely happening that needs to be understood, happening in the society, in their immediate environment, in the kind of exposure they are having, as Dr. Raheja mentioned. What are they watching, the kind of aggression, violence that they're seeing all around. They're getting it from adults. My problem is that we are also putting the burden on the child now to protect themselves, to reform themselves, to do everything, whereas adults are free. There's nothing happening, when it comes to parenting and parenting skills. There's nothing happening when it comes to, for example, ensuring that schools have a proper student-pupil ratio. Now, every classroom cannot have 45 children for a teacher to deal with. It's not fair. And we want individualized attention to every child as well.
Yeah.
There are lots of aspects to be looked at.
Okay, so don't blame the child. Who else is going to take responsibility? Let's look at the former example that you talk about, the child who was killed or died after a fight in school. So and I'm sure lots of parents have this concern, the schools are charging a huge fee, Mr. Pandey, and so when they are charging this fee, is it just to provide an education? Do they also have to ensure the safety of the schools? So are schools accountable for what happens on their watch?
Schools accountability, yes. But I have little bit discomfort even if your schools are not charging fee. Let us say, for example, government schools not charging fee. Do you imply that they can have no safety and security? So let's not bring that into it. That we can keep aside for further discussion, separate discussion. But is schools accountability? Yes. Why not? But schools, if something happens, and then making the schools criminally culpable for the whole thing, I think that also needs a little bit of moderation. But what I would like to put here is that both Dr. Raheja and Bharti have mentioned that it is the entire structure which is responsible, right? So the parents are also responsible if their children are committing a crime. And the schools are also responsible if something like this happens in the schools and they are not aware of it. So I would say that we have to balance it out. So what is the way out? If as a school principal I say that the parents are responsible, they will not like it. But certainly as an objective analysis and discussion of the whole thing, I think they also have to do something. We find increasingly that most of the parents today, the child rearing and parenting is going into two extremes. One, either they are totally permissive about the whole thing, love the child, no discipline, no guidance, or they are totally negligent about the whole thing, neither love and affection nor any discipline and guidance. As far as the schools are concerned, they have to put everything in place. Whether you charge fee, you don't charge fee, a child has come under your custody, you are responsible for the safety of the child. So do everything possible in terms of your safety measures, your employee background, your counseling, the background of the children, the elder children who are showing some kind of deviance in their behavior. I think it is the responsibility of the school. I would not deny that. My only difference is that just because a private school something like this happens, it should not become a world news just because they charge the fee. After all, government is also charging the fee. There also it should not happen.
But most of the cases that we've heard of recently have been in private schools.
Most of the cases have come in the media.
Pradhyuman's father here, he's paid the biggest price.
Of
he's
course,
lost his child to the education system in
in
India. And
but
he's here speaking up because he wants to ensure that what's happened to him should never happen again to any other parent. So, Varun Thakur ji, aap bataiye, what would you say in response?
मेरा जो मानना है मेरे बेटे के साथ जो हुआ उस घटना में, जब एक पेरेंट अपने बच्चे को अच्छे संस्कार, डिसिप्लिन सब कुछ देता है, एक स्कूल ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे डिफरेंट बैकग्राउंड के बच्चे आके गैदर होते हैं और एक बहुत अच्छा खासा टाइम वहाँ पे बिताते हैं। तो उस समय में जो उसका गार्जियन है वो स्कूल का एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन टीचर है जो उसके डायरेक्ट कांटेक्ट में है, उसके बिहेवियर को, उसके चीज़ों को रीड करता है। तो ऐसा कैसे पॉसिबल है कि एक बच्चा जो पिछले 5 साल से स्कूल में है और उसकी इंटेंशंस कैसी है, अपब्रिंगिंग कैसी है, ये स्कूल को नहीं पता चलता है, या पता होते हुए भी आप उस चीज़ को हाइड करते हैं या उस बच्चे के खिलाफ एक्शन नहीं लेते हैं और वो एक थ्रेट बन जाता है बच्चों के लिए। मेरे बेटे के केस में सिर्फ एक बच्चे के साथ उसने अटेम्प्ट किया, बट जहाँ पर चीज़ें और भी सामने आई हैं, अगर वो कुछ ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट कर पाता जिससे बहुत सारे बच्चों की जान खतरे में पड़ जाती, तो वो किसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? वो 7 घंटे जो बच्चा बिताता है, वो एक 4 साल का भी बच्चा है, एक 14 साल का भी बच्चा है, और दोनों के सोचने के तरीके में, दोनों के मेंटल फ्रेम में बहुत फ़र्क है। उस जगह पे कैसे बच्चों को सेव किया जाए, ये सोचना, ये सेफ्टी प्रोवाइड करना तो अल्टीमेटली स्कूल का काम है।
And in your case, ये जो CEOs and the owners of the school, the action, that legal action that was taken against them was only because your family, in the moment of mourning, of grieving, you still focused on the case and you ensured that the police.
Yes, हमारा मानना था, ये हम शुरू से मान रहे थे कि रीज़न कुछ भी रहा हो, लेकिन जो चीज़ वहाँ पे हुई, जो घटना हुई, उसके लिए कहीं ना कहीं स्कूल रिस्पॉन्सिबल है, क्योंकि वो ऐसा टाइम था जहाँ पे इस तरह की घटना होना पॉसिबल नहीं था। और जिस तरह से इस घटना के बाद स्कूल का बिहेवियर था, मतलब कोई सपोर्ट नहीं था स्कूल की तरफ से इन्वेस्टिगेशन में और इन चीज़ों में, वो कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा लगता था कि वो अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी से पीछे भाग के अपने आप को सिर्फ उस घटना से पीछे हटाना चाहते थे कि हमारी इसमें कोई इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं है, वी आर नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल, मतलब किसी भी तरह से। आज की घटना में भी बिना जो एक बच्चे की डेथ हुई है, स्कूल ने बिना रीज़न समझे, बिना पोस्टमार्टम के रिपोर्ट आए, ये स्टेटमेंट दे दिया कि बच्चे को दस्त था, डायरिया से परेशान था और बच्चे की डेथ हो गई। एक स्कूल ऐसी स्टेटमेंट कैसे दे सकता है बिना किसी रीज़न के पता चले? तो ये कहीं ना कहीं उनके इररिस्पॉन्सिबल बिहेवियर और अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी से भागते हुए दिखते हैं स्कूल्स। जब बात दूसरे चीज़ों की होती है, जब पेरेंट्स के ऊपर बात होती है, फीस होती है, उस टाइम में वो बहुत अवेयर होते हैं कि ये चीज़ें आनी है, फीस टाइम से आना है, सब कुछ टाइम से आना है, बट जब सेफ्टी या किसी इस तरह का इंसिडेंट हो जाता है, तब वो अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी से पीछे भागते हुए दिखते हैं। ऐसा क्यों?
Colonel Pratap Singh, why don't you respond over here? Because you're part of the Haryana Progressive Schools. We've had a horrific incident. This is the other side of the story, when one of the principals of the school was shot by a student because she dared suspend him, right? But first, just respond to this before we go across to that case.
Firstly, all my sympathies with him, and I agree with what Mr. Pandey has said. There is no doubt that the schools are responsible for the safety of the children. And let me assure you, the schools do make an effort, sincere effort, to ensure that this is done. But in some cases, like particularly because this was something unheard of, when a student could be attacking a child in this particular manner in which it happened with him, the issue, I feel, it lies, as was mentioned just now, with the entire society, and let's get down to the parents. Now, as far as the parents are concerned, it is not all. It may be just about a fraction of 5 to 10% maybe, or lesser. But when these parents, they neglect their children, they are the ones who are going haywire. If you look at today's this essay report, the last few weeks, where the class 3 and 5 students' performance is very low. Now what happens? By the time these children come up to class 10 level, they are not interested in academics. Parents are unaware. And when they are told about by the school or the teachers, then they are in a denial mode. My one basic issue is that the entire system has been upset because the right person is not allowed to do his job. Jiska kaam usi ko saade. Today, almost every
you mean
person
education or discipline?
Beg your pardon, I am coming to it. Now, coming down, jisko saade means it is school's duty to nurture students, even though they spend just about 20-22% of their time in the school. But what is happening is that neither the teachers nor the schools are allowed to function freely.
By whom?
But it is the administration, the society, the media. I would talk about you also, in the sense, everybody is talking about the negative issues. Whatever positive things are happening in the schools, nobody is talking about.
When a child dies in school, then obviously the media will talk about that. No, it's not a negative issue.
No, but the point is, why is because this is what is damaging the entire fabric of the society. Everybody is insulting a teacher or the school or threatening them for arrest and disrespecting them, then how does a child respect the teacher? If a parent comes and shout, maybe out of the entire, I'm talking about just about 2-3%, they come and shout at the teacher, abuse the teacher, the child is listening. The basic issue you had also mentioned, that schools are charging hefty fees. Now, when you talk about hefty fees, there are different levels of schools. So that the fee structure, everybody knows as to what fee level the parent can get into. Now, this conversation...
But Colonel Singh, one second, no, I just want to say, HPSC came up with a list of demands. There was a protest, you had shut down schools in Haryana after the murder of this principal, which is an abhorrent incident, right? But according to your list of demands, you say there should be there should be a legislation that no teacher, principal or school administrator shall be arrested until investigation is complete.
Obviously.
There should be a tribunal to deal with all school-related issues rather than the judiciary. Why should schools be treated any differently than any other crimes? And teachers, principals and the school management must be indemnified against FIRs and arrests.
Without doubts, if we want this society to improve, the respect for those who are teaching and bringing and building the nation, if they are not respected, how do we expect it? Unfortunately, what has happened...
All right, let's ask the father here.
No, I'll give the example here.
They are demanding that teachers, school management and principals should be indemnified or protected against any FIR or arrest.
I'd like to quickly add to this first. The police had caught hold of a person, made him confess, and then later on the things were different altogether.
But in his case,
now,
the police...
if the principal or the administration had been arrested, imagine what would have happened. In that particular case, when they were wanting the arrest of the principal...
But how did a weapon get into the school, and why was a class 4 employee using the same bathroom as a class 3 student?
वो स्कूल की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, स्कूल का जो इमीडिएट मैनेजमेंट है, प्रिंसिपल है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव स्टाफ है, उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, वो कौन देखेगा? पेरेंट तो स्कूल के अंदर नहीं देख सकता।
मैं ये नहीं कहता कि वो कौन देखेगा, वो हमारा काम है, कोई डाउट नहीं है उसके बारे में, वो हम देखेंगे।
सर,
वी एज स्कूल
इन द केस ऑफ प्रद्युम्न, डायरेक्ट कल्प्रिट जो है वो अरेस्ट है जिसने उसके साथ किया, बट उस केस में इनडायरेक्ट कल्प्रिट स्कूल है मेरे हिसाब से, जिसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी थी बच्चे को सेफ्टी प्रोवाइड करना और जो उसमें फेल हुआ है। अगर आप कहें, बहुत जगह पे हम कहते हैं कि स्कूल में टेररिस्ट अटैक ना हो जाए, ये गाइडलाइंस होनी चाहिए, ये सेफ्टी क्लॉजेस होने चाहिए। अगर आज जैसा कि यमुनानगर में एक घटना हुई, एक स्टूडेंट गन लेकर गया और प्रिंसिपल को मार दिया, हो सकता है इस तरह की इल मेंटेलिटी का कोई मेंटल केस का आदमी जाए और 10 स्टूडेंट्स को फायर कर दे, तो आप बताइए वो सिक्योरिटी कहाँ है? कैसे कोई गन्स और चाकू के साथ स्कूल में घुस सकता है?
See, as far as the outsiders are concerned, without doubts, the school has those systems. But in these cases, the few cases which have happened, in Nazafgarh, a student attacked a teacher who had given him less marks. He stabbed him. So this is what I'm talking about, 5 to 10. What is happening to these children? They have gone astray because they've got emboldened either because of the parents, or literally when I'm saying about the society, there is no certainty of punishment for people.
सर, अब हम यहाँ पे बात कर रहे हैं, एक केस स्पेसिफिक आपने बात किया कि बच्चे ने उसको मार दिया, टीचर को स्टैप कर दिया। ये अगर आप देखें तो उस स्कूल के बाउंड्री वॉल्स तक कंप्लीट नहीं थे।
Correct. That's a good point. But what you're bringing up here is that parents are also responsible, right? Who is liable? Then if we're saying you can't blame a child, our laws say that any child under 7 can't be charged with anything, while crimes increasingly are being done by children of younger and younger age, right? If juveniles. We had a case over here first last year in April. Manoj Agarwal, a businessman, his son, who was 4 days short of his birthday, 18th birthday, rammed his Mercedes, which he was driving over the speed limit, into a 34-year-old, right, Siddharth? 32-year-old Siddharth. Now, this was a landmark case because for the first time, the parents were also arrested and charged.
Yes.
What happened? How did that happen?
See, initially, when we came to know about this, then there was no actually police help or nothing. We did not, like we came to know through our friends, we ran, I was in Bombay, we came back, and we just came to know that this has happened, but there was no police when we went to the hospital. There was no kind of a support that was coming through. And then we asked the police, like in this morning hour, we went to the police station. I sent my father to ask what's happening. So the police turned around and told us that, you know, it was too late in the night and we could not just go and knock somebody's door. They had all the registrations, they had everything. Now this is me being, you know, the layman, and I'm sure everyone here who doesn't know law we believed it when they said that, because that is, you know, it's coming out of somebody's mouth who knows the law. And we can't really argue. We are not in that state of mind. But then finally, when we came to know that they had sent the driver, the driver came to know that my brother died, then he retracted his statement and everything happened and it was done. The father had gone to the hospital. The police was also there. We all came to know about it. That is when we said that the parents they know everything. It has happened.
And in your case, your family actually did the investigation in this case. You tracked down and traced
Yes.
the CCTV footage
Yes.
that found that he was speeding and that he was driving.
Yes, because police turned around and said there are no CCTV cameras there. Then we found the CCTV camera. Then we told them. They said it's not working. Then we, I mean, it was like a complete circus. And in the middle of this situation where you can't actually think straight, you are actually, you know, trying to understand that and accept the reality what has happened. You are actually finding and investigating things which police should have done. And then we find out the guy was underage. Then we found out that the guy has been driving since he was 11. Now, and it was over the speed limit and there were too many people
So going back to the
involved.
question, how did the father and the mother get involved? Because that hasn't happened before, right?
No,
Either you say, look, he's a juvenile, he's under 18, even though he's just 4 days younger than 18.
Yes. What happened was we spoke to the police and then they told us that the driver had come and, you know, the father told him to come and give the statement and all. So then we went and spoke to the police commissioner and we were like, this has happened and I'm sure there has to be some kind of a law where, you know, if somebody is sending some fake guy to say that I did the accident, then it is kind of an abetment, he said. So that is when I met the commissioner on the way back, I just got the calls from the media saying the father has been arrested. Later on, the mother also got into.
So there was
the scene.
media support, Colonel. That's why this case also
No,
turned
major.
out the way it
But-
did.
So
But
this
Mr.
was
Kant,
dead
Mr. Kant,
anyways.
have things changed since Jessica Lal, Nitish Katara, where you have parents, powerful parents in those cases, but here all parents want to look out for their kids. But have things changed over the years?
Things have changed, decidedly they have changed, because we have been watching these kind of crimes
Shilpa's asking where have things changed? How
and
have
their
things
treatment.
changed?
And
I
their
am telling you,
treatment-
I'm the live example. I've faced it. My brother died and I was running after the police to tell me what is happening with anybody who has done the accident, because luckily, unluckily, the Mercedes has a feature that if it has hit really bad and the airbags are out, it can't move. So we found the car. They had everything. And this is what the answer that I got, that you cannot knock somebody's door.
No, I recall because I had a chance to supervise that BMW case, besides Jessica Lal case, which also I handled as a police officer. So decidedly, you know, over the years, because of the consciousness, because of the media, because of the demands made by people like you, for example, the application of law has changed. It's changed quite a lot. For example, it's a unique case where the father or the mother, they get arrested in a case where, I mean, it's difficult. Let me inform you that as a law enforcement officer and having dealt with these kind of cases, I would like to say it's very, very difficult thing to prove that, unless you have got a supportive judiciary, you have got a supportive public opinion, that one. But then I would like to talk a little more about, you are discussing here 3 types of situations. See, you are talking about the juvenile offenders, which is a separate kind of issue. You are talking about the children who become victims of crimes, and you are talking about the schools also. These are 3 different situations.
And they're all interconnected.
That's the point I am making. See, they are all of them have the running thread, which is the safety of child in the first place, and the crimes being committed by the children or against the children, or the safety of the child. Who is responsible for safety of the child? That's the point being discussed. See, first of all, let me explain to everyone that the number of crimes being committed by children, one children's home, juvenile home, it has seen about 14,000 juveniles having gone through that home. My impression about these youngsters is very, very different. I mean, I have found most of them far more disciplined, better behaved, and generally better learners also, compared to other nearly 25 homes that Prayas runs, because I meet them quite often. That is one part. Number of crimes committed by children, let me inform you, is decidedly not what is being projected. 35 to 40,000 crimes annually, less than the 1% of crime, isn't it?
Yes.
It's in fact 0.07%. The crimes are committed by children. Children constitute 42% of population. Please remember that. And they commit less than 1% of crime. But every serious crime, and serious crimes for which the age of child some change has come, you know, that serious crime is hardly 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 annually in the whole of country, 1.30 billion population. Just listen to me. Because if you publicize these kinds of things, I mean, exaggerate, many a times
okay,
they
so
create
you're saying
impression.
the juvenile crime isn't even on the rise?
No, it is not
It
on
is
the
not,
rise.
in
It
fact,
is not.
2016 statistics show a drop. It's dropped
Mr.
to
Sundaram,
1.05%.
would you agree?
No, I mean, this is a fact. Na? NCRB
But-
report, you depend.
But
See,
the
you have
NCRB
to
report
depend.
says a 7% increase, right,
Just
over
hold,
1 year.
just hold on. The number of crimes increasing.
That's what I want
We
to
carefully examine the crime figures, and the crime figures, overall crime figures of India, bound to rise. You know, in Delhi, I hope you know that in 2012 we had only 50,000 crimes. Today it's 2,07,000 crimes this year. It's 400 times more crimes. But comparatively speaking, the crimes committed by children, for example, I don't think it's a rise. And then if you compare again, like, you know, the same
But
period.
we weren't hearing of so many cases. Just this week we've heard of
no,
at least
because,
3.
because they are being talked about. See,
Increased
11,
reporting.
Are they being
11 lakh
reported
crimes,
more?
mind you.
Yes.
The same time when our children, India's population being 1/4 of USA, 11 lakh crimes committed by children in USA. See, these comparisons we know because we work on it. So that is something, you know, one has to think. I am not giving any decisive judgment. But
Okay.
one point I would like to mention, one very important point. He
Thakur.
is absolutely correct. And then that the child always remains under somebody's guardianship, somebody's care. And that's why the person is a child. He may be 16, 17 or 7-year-old. So the care system or the protection of the child passes as the child goes to some other place. At home, parents look after. When the child is on the move, let's say the bus driver or anybody else will look after, or somebody carrying the child or accompanying the child. School decidedly the schools are supposed to look after the child. Anything going wrong in their school, they have to take the responsibility. Running away from you, from
Okay,
that
so
situation.
the child cannot be held accountable. So is it parents, is it schools? So before I get to
No.
that, Mr. Sundaram, just respond to this. Are juvenile crimes not increasing?
You see, the point
Then
of
why
the
did
ma-
we need this, the change in the Juvenile
Well,
Crimes Act also?
let me just paraphrase what has been said, because what's being discussed has so many different aspects which somewhere along the way I hope will get together. The fact of the matter is that when you ask, are juvenile crimes increasing? Numerically, they are increasing. But if you're asking the question, are juvenile crimes increasing proportionately? The answer is no. The sad fact of the matter is there has been a tremendous increase in crimes, not only in India, all over the world. There are various reasons for it. You see, first of all, you take our enormous increase in population, take our great differences in the demographic structure, take our great difference in the economic structure.
Yeah.
When we come down to what can be, seems an insoluble problem, how do we tackle it? We have to take into account the overall tackling of the general increase in crime. There has been an overall increase in crime, and within that larger circle is the smaller circle of those crimes committed against or by juveniles, both as perpetrators and people who have been the objects of the crimes. So the fact of the matter is, somewhere along the way, we have to tackle this overall issue of increase of commission of crimes, which is where I think an excellent point has been made today, that such a responsibility lies not only with the police to take care of, but where crimes occur in workplaces, in schools, in other places, I think we have to accept that people who, let's say I'm a businessman, I have a workplace, it's a place of profit for me. I create an environment where the absolute fruits of all this is going to come to me. Now, one of the attributes, like in the old days, it was to take care of your safety of your workmen. It's to take care of the canteen to be provided to give them food. There are various laws which take care of how you make your workplace better. And I think today we have to accept one fact, that crime is on the increase, violence is on the increase, and one of the aspects which any person who's responsible for any workplace or school or any place where others are coming and he is profiting in any manner out of it, has a responsibility, and has a responsibility to make that workplace safe. Now that is where I'm saying this whole issue of bringing the parents in, for example, in one case, or the principal in another case, why does it arise? It arises because if it is found that a crime has been committed, and if it has been found that that crime could have been avoided by reasonable care being put forward, being taken care of by the people, then the crime may not have occurred. Now, you extend this further legally. If you have a duty of reasonable care and you fail in that reasonable care, then you have been negligent. And if your negligence has resulted in a crime like that being committed, why should you not answer for it? Maybe not in the same way as being prosecuted for the crime itself, but you should be answerable, and I believe that.
Colonel, Ms. Pandey, will you quickly respond?
I think what I could not say, Mr. Ariman has said it, that the duty of reasonable care, the phrase which is used, is with the workplace, and in our cases it is in the schools. I fully agree. But if we extend the logic that the schools are responsible for it to the extent that is being made, then I can say with some sense of responsibility that the principal who has been murdered, she is responsible for her own murder. I mean, should we say that? So that is where I want to make this distinction, that every care we have to take. And I would go, personally, if you talk for me, I will take every responsibility for every child who is under my care. I'll be the first person to put my head if something like that has happened. But for God's sake, go into the details how it has happened and where, as a principal or management, I have failed to do my duty. That distinction is to be made, and that is what Colonel Pratap Singh was trying to say, that without going into anything, straight away you say, no, come to the lockup. By sending somebody to the lockup, you don't do any justice to the crime.
But his statement is saying indemnity against FIRs and all of that. That might be a bit agree. But Mr. Singh, so in this case where the principal was shot at, the child was using a gun that was legally owned by the parent.
By the boy's father, and he usurped that gun and brought it to the school. I would say, Mr. Ashok, that is a cumulative failure of everybody.
Yes.
We do not have a system of part-time parenting or part-time teaching.
Yes.
Teaching is a divine job, it is full-time. Parenting is a divine job, it is a full-time job. When we relegate things for others and outsource our responsibilities, such horrific failures are bound to happen. One. Then we need to do away with caste system. Today we have a system that judiciary and the MPs need to be kept away from prosecutions. Today we have schools. Why? We cannot afford to. If you commit a crime, the law is unsparing and should be equal to all. Even if the Director General of Police or a Chief Secretary, if somebody dies in his office, he will jolly well go to the police station and answer how he does. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. My learned friend, he sees virtue where I feel there is none. In 1695 cases of Delhi, there are 64 murders and 119 rapes. Do you think that it is a cause? It is not a cause of concern. It is a cause of very serious concern. And it is the cumulative failure of the systems. Respect, sir, Colonel Saab, is commanded and not demanded. I have to be honorable and respectable to demand respect and honor. I cannot claim it as a matter of right. And if something has failed in the school, whether the driver or the washroom, ask Mr. Varma. His heart would be bleeding.
It is not.
May I complete, sir, now? It is the cumulative failure of the school, the moral, legal and vicarious responsibility of the principal to have ensured the safety. 1 month's fees of the school is more than the fees that I paid from KG right up to my MSc and PhD classes. If you are asking for the moon, then jolly well give the very basics also.
And parents, you said, you know, when the kids come to school, parents should be hands off. 1 second, sir. Many parents complain that they send their kids to school. At the end of the day, the parent says, now you have to revise with them. That means when parents come home after a long day of work, you can't just hang out with your child, spend time with them. You still have to work with what the schools were supposed to have done in school.
What is going wrong in the society is what we are talking about. Why is the juvenile crimes increasing in numbers or quantities? But the issue, I'll quickly touch one point which you mentioned. We as schools are responsible, no doubt. But imagine if a driver holding a valid license, his police verification has been done, he is driving on the road, somebody runs in front of him and that child dies. Now the entire area gets up, violates that particular person, and they all demand
but that has nothing to do with schools. That happens even if I'm in a road accident.
It has happened in
even if I'm in a road accident, that will happen with me. I'm driving the car, I'll get beaten up. Let's talk about schools particularly. Sir, this week a child has committed suicide, for example, because the school hauled her up in class and said that you haven't paid the fees. Right? I'm just giving you an example of something that's happened this week.
This is a different topic because then we go off to a tangent. Today, literally, if you take my advice, how exactly should the society be improved? That is the basic point. And what is happening?
That, sir, is a philosophical question. Let us cut down to the basics.
It is a lot
improve
more
the prosecution, instead of indulging pain, sacrifice, and if this is not rocket science. Whatever India expects every person to do his or her duty. Increase the pain, sacrifice and effort that the parent and the teacher is supposed to have. Let us not give tuitions. As a parent, as a father, it's not my job to go to the club, dye my hair and go and gallivant around town mixing with the wrong kind of people instead of investing my time, money and effort on my children. I think something horrible.
When you talk about the society, if you throw everything to society, then all the stakeholders, all the participants, everybody is free. That the problem lies in the society.
We are also society.
No, but I think what's
okay,
important
let's go
is to
across here.
identify
We have
the
a
stakeholders.
counsellor. Pratibha is a counsellor, but interestingly, you say you're a counsellor for parents.
I'm a parenting coach.
So, and they always say there's no such right or wrong when you're parenting. So, how can you be a parenting coach? And when you meet with these parents, are the parents willing to take responsibility for their child, what their child does in school, the way they behave?
So when parents come to me, they come to me with a thought that, you know, I will be able to help the child. But on a whole, I believe that parents need help.
So do they think they don't need the help, the child needs the help?
Yeah. Most of the time when parents come to me, they
Can
say
you give
that...
us example? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So there's been times when parents come to me and say that my girl is doing self-harm. Or another example would be my child wants to not go to school from tomorrow. And on those circumstances, when I question the parent, why? They don't have any answer. They don't understand the real emotions of the child because they've not spoken to the child about it. And after speaking to the child, I get to know.
But they sound like concerned parents if they're coming all the way to you, right? They're paying you for something. They must have tried something if they're coming to you.
Of course.
What is, like, for example, what is the most bizarre example you've heard of?
So the most bizarre example is when from a girl from a very reputed school in Gurgaon would come to me and say that, you know, I feel like cutting my hands. Or a boy who is studying in the similar school would come to me and say that I don't want to live because my peers tell me you should go and die. So these are very bigger pictures and emotional turmoil that these kids go through. And how will they take out their aggression? Where will they take out their aggression?
No, but here this is a case of the school has also let these kids down. If the teacher is not noticing that the child is cutting herself, the parents, she's not unable to talk, so it's both teachers and parents.
Absolutely.
But in this case of Shilpa's brother's case, the fact that this child had been driving for 2 years and the parents had given him the access to the car and the keys and they knew he was driving every night. So who's responsible in this case? Should parents be held accountable?
Absolutely. Parents should be held accountable because they should understand that what are they really giving, imbibing the beliefs in the child. He is going to go in the society and do that. And it's costing lives.
Any other parents here in the audience?
Hello, like I absolutely agree what she's saying because as a parent I have also heard and I was a teacher also. So as a teacher also I have heard so many cases when the parents were coming to me and they were like pampering the child.
So you're a parent and a teacher, so you've been on both sides. So would you say as a parent, if we're going to say that a child is a juvenile, you are bound to experiment, you're bound to make mistakes if you're under 18, so should the parents be held accountable? If your child is caught in a crime, the police should come and arrest you because you've not been able to control your child.
Parents are not subjected to arrest in any case, I suppose. But at the same time, they should be like understand what actually the child needs. Because if at all they are not talking to the child, they are not understanding what are the demands of the child, then how can they be able to submit to the school's demand or to the children's demand? It is not possible at all. So most of the time, the quality time, what is needed at this time.
No, can I say something on this?
It's a wrong question, in the sense that I don't think we should be saying whether so-and-so should be held accountable. We have to say that yes, whoever is in the wrong has to be held accountable, whether child or parent or school.
But Bharti, you're saying that a juvenile cannot be held accountable, right?
Of course they can.
So then who is going to be held accountable?
No, who said?
Nobody. It's a crime that nobody did.
But which law says that you can't hold a person accountable? Except for those who are under the age of 7 years, in which case no offence can be made out, but it does not mean that you can't hold the child accountable. There are different ways of going about it.
Ways to do it.
So what we have to really discuss is how to go about it. Perhaps it may not be correct to have the parent sent to the jail for the rest of the family to suffer. But we have to have some other mechanism to deal with it and to hold the parent accountable.
One more point.
Quick response.
In our case, the parents knew the guy is driving. Correct. The guy, this is not the first time he has committed a crime. This is the second or the third time that he had gone through this. There was a guy who was hit by his car. He was hospitalized. He had fractures. The parent took care of
earlier
it.
also.
So and there are challans. So parents knew about everything. So I definitely feel
So
that
there is a law.
fact,
There
this
is a
raises an
law which
important
can be
issue.
used to hold both parents
Correct,
and
but then-
schools
See,
See,
accountable.
our
then we have-
experience. may
Mr.
just-
Sundaram was just saying something. Go ahead. So then I'll
I'm
come
saying,
to
in
you.
fact, what you said raises a very important issue. You know, let's just take this case. Let's take a case of a boy who's underage, who has no business driving, who takes a car out. Number one, illegal act, driving without a license, underage. Number two, illegal act, driving under the influence of liquor. Number three, with both this, through sheer negligence or culpability because he's in that condition where this is likely to happen, he kills somebody. All right? Once you say that is a crime, once you say that is a crime, now anybody else who has in any manner, tacitly or explicitly, participated in that crime, by supporting it, by allowing it, by having a chance to prevent it, but doing nothing about it, I don't see why they cannot be brought in the same manner as if any other crime is committed. A person who before the fact has participated in the committing of the crime. It's a father, let us say, I'm not saying it has happened in this case, but if it is shown, the father knew that his son was drunk, father knew that he was going driving, the father knew that he was going to drive the father's car and take it out, and therefore it was likely, very possible to cause an accident. Why should he not be culpable also?
Absolutely.
As an accessory before the
Willing
fact?
accessory
Child
to the
labor is a
crime.
crime. So parents who are, for whatever reasons, forced to send
Forced
their
to send their
children
kids
into
in.
labor, are they supposed to then be sent to jails? Begging is a crime. Parents who, for whatever reasons, are forced to put their children into begging, are they to be sent to jail? The argument can
My
extend.
answer to you is yes.
Yes.
My answer to you is yes.
No, can I say
if
something
a
on this?
parent forces their child to go into begging,
Human
or
trafficking or
tomorrow
begging.
a parent forces their child to go into prostitution, I do believe that the parent is answerable in law.
answerable and
I
See, the
certainly
parents,
believe so.
my experience
Mr.
is,
Kant.
no, I'll just tell. Decidedly, the family, the parents or the guardian or caretaker, I put them all together. It can be a school teacher also, who is watching a child going wrong, who is understanding that the child is already on a wrong path and he should be corrected. Now, the issue is that no one becomes a serious criminal or serious delinquent or serious juvenile. It starts from very small things. That is the history. So those people who are guardians of that situation, guardian of the child, they are supposed to say no to it. I mean, they are supposed to say that you,
And
damn
that's
it,
where
you
it
must
starts.
stop here.
So,
If they are
Mr.
not,
Singh, isn't that the problem that these kids don't
we are
have
not
any
able
fear
to-
of authority?
No, let me-
the principal
let me-
doesn't
I'll
want
just
to
finish.
correct. One second,
I'll
the
just
principal
finish.
doesn't. What you said is very interesting.
one
The
is-
principal of the school doesn't want to correct
No,
the
no,
child
nobody.
because the parent, when we were growing up, if you were called in, if your parent was called in, you would be really nervous, and your parent would probably smack you in front of the principal.
See, biggest
Today's
problem
parents
is-
are different. They will.
no, the
they'll
biggest
accuse
problem
the teacher
is
of not knowing.
no, just hold
and-
on. Biggest problem is that all of us as guardians, all of us as, let's say, teachers, parents, whatever, I think we fail to call a spade, and we are so at times scared. No, because children suddenly become so violent that we get scared. Otherwise, we become tolerant. There is nothing called zero tolerance. So that is the biggest problem here. That
No, so
you have
children
to
become
maintain.
violent, so we are outsourcing it to the
Amo,
cops.
let me tell you
Kids
just
have no
two
fear
more
of the
points.
cops even.
Number one, that as they say in the police, there are no bad generals, there are no bad soldiers, only bad generals. Similarly, in parenthood, there are no bad children, there are only bad parents and teachers. I would say something horribly must have gone wrong in the heart or in the school to bring us it. My
But they are
schooling
known,
was
they are
very
known.
different.
But
My
coming-
schooling, I don't say it is
Coming
right,
back
but
to what
it
you
is
said, the way
it had
parents
three
deal
ingredients.
with teachers during PTMs, you know, it's really a scene to watch.
Ma'am,
You need to film
my
it.
schooling was,
What
I
that-
don't say it was right, was three ingredients: caning, cold bath and bad food. I don't say it is right. But at the same time, my parents weren't sparing, my teachers weren't sparing.
Act has done. They say that you
No,
will
but-
not reprimand a child, you will not punish a child, and the moment
not-
a teacher
No, I
does
would say
something,
Fail a
they
child,
it is
you
take
just
won't
the
hold the
sight,
child back
it is the
either.
profiling
Does
of
the
the child
answer
through
to
your
that
eyes.
lie
Also
in
very
law
arbitrary.
or something else is what I'm trying to
That's
say.
the point.
Okay, let's get quick reactions.
Good evening. My question is, first, there were three statements made that the society has become violent. the cases have gone up, and sir said that the principal, the parents are responsible, children are not. And then as a solution, in our actions, we come and take this step to make the juveniles be tried as adults. In heinous crimes. And I think that punishments are criminal-centric, not victim-centric. How do you see it as a solution to, go about?
So is the state abdicating its responsibility by charging juveniles with as adults, right? Is that we actually have young men here. This is Iftikhar. He had committed a crime as a juvenile, and then he went into reform. And Iftikhar, आजकल आप क्या कर रहे हो?
मैं अभी रेडीमेड जींस की फैक्ट्री है, उसमें मैनेजर के तौर पे नौकरी करता हूँ। जो ये मेरे साथ एक वारदात हुई थी, उसके बाद से जैसे मैंने कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा ऐसा मतलब फील हुआ कि मैंने बहुत गलत करा जो भी हुआ मेरे से। लेकिन वहाँ से आने के बाद फिर मतलब जैसे प्रयास में था, वहाँ से मैंने कुछ सीखा। भैया लोगों ने बताया कि भाई यहाँ पे जैसे रहते हो और वहाँ का डिसिप्लिन वगैरह जो भी थे, उसको फिर मैंने ध्यान में रख के बाहर जैसे मेरी छूटा हूँ, उसके बाद फिर मैंने बहुत मेहनत करी। उसके बाद आज एक मैनेजर के तौर पर नौकरी करता हूँ और आगे वैसे जाता भी रहता हूँ प्रयास में।
जेल क्यों गए थे? आपकी चार्ज क्या थी?
चार्ज मर्डर केस था, जो कि स्कूल टाइम में।
और आप कितने साल के थे?
मैं करीबन उस टाइम पे मैं 14 साल का था, और स्कूल टाइम था, उसमें फ्रेंडों के साथ चला गया। हालांकि मैंने करा नहीं था, लेकिन मैं इन्वॉल्व था। उसका मुझे बड़ा अफसोस है कि मैं गया भी था तो गुनहगार हूँ, क्योंकि मैं गया क्यों। लेकिन जाने के बाद भी मतलब मुझे बहुत फील हुआ कि ऐसा नहीं करना था, मेरे को जाना भी नहीं था साथ में। हालांकि करा नहीं था मैंने कुछ भी, लेकिन गया भी तो मैं बहुत समझ लो उसमें साथ में मैंने करा ही है, समझ लो। वो चीज़ मेरे दिमाग में रहती थी कि अब आगे ये चीज़ ने सोच रखनी है कि जो और बच्चे हैं ये चीज़ रखें ध्यान में कि संगी मतलब ये जो दोस्तों की संगत है वो ना रखें, और रखते भी हैं तो वो खुद सोचे कि मुझे क्या करना है।
तो अब सरकार ने नई कानून बनाई है कि अगर आप 18 साल से कम भी हो कि आप अडल्ट की तरह ट्राई करो, यू विल बी ट्राइड एज एन अडल्ट।
नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि जैसे कि मौका मिलना चाहिए, जैसे कि हमें मिला। अगर मुझे ये मौका नहीं मिलता तो शायद फिर आज मैं यहाँ नहीं होता, क्योंकि एक सीख होती है, सीख मिलनी चाहिए जब भी आगे कुछ सोचेंगे करने के लिए। और अगर मुझे वो सीख नहीं मिलती तो शायद यहाँ नहीं आता ही नहीं मैं। लेकिन मुझे मौका मिला और मैंने अपने आप को साबित किया कि भाई मुझे करना है। वो जो मैंने गलती करी है उसका मुझे अफसोस है, पछतावा है, लेकिन आगे के लिए मैंने ये सोच लिया कि नहीं, अब जो हो गया सो हो गया। आगे एक में अच्छी लाइफ और अच्छी ज़िंदगी के साथ आगे बढ़ना है। और जैसे कि जैसा होता है मेरे से, और बच्चों की भी हेल्प करता रहता हूँ वैसे वहाँ।
तो अभी यहाँ पे ऑडियंस में बहुत सारे यूथ है, यंगस्टर्स है, आप क्या बोलोगे उनको? क्या मैसेज दे सकते हो आप?
मैसेज मैं ये दूंगा कि बस एक अपने माइंड पे अपने ऊपर कंट्रोल करके चलें, और अपनी फैमिली को, अपने जैसे ये मम्मी पापा हैं उन लोगों को, उनकी बातों को रख के, उनको जो कहेंगे वो तो ठीक ही कहेंगे, तो उनकी बातों रख के और अपने माइंड पे बिल्कुल कंट्रोल करें कि नहीं एकदम गुस्सा गर्मी नहीं करनी है या किसी से झगड़ा नहीं करना है। एक प्यार मोहब्बत के साथ रहेंगे तो जाहिर सी बात है आगे कुछ होगा नहीं झगड़ा।
All right, look, I don't think anyone could have said it better. Thank you so much, Iftikhar. We're completely out of time, and that's the message of the day. That's the note we're going to end the show on. Thank you so much for joining us on We the People. Thank you. Bye-bye.